Roll call.
Tom McDonald,
Here.
Lynn Tootie, Jennifer Finley,
Here.
Jim Molitor, Carol Langford, Terry Pitts, Bing Matt, Ellie Bundy, Martin Charlo,
Present.
Mike Dawson,
I'm here.
James Steele Senior.
Lumps, Jen. As always, we'll start today off with prayer. And Mike, would you please do the
Thank you,
prayer
Mr.
for us?
Chair. Creator, in your all-knowing, all-powerful, and especially all-loving way, bless us as we do the work of our tribe. And it's fire season, so please bring a blessing to all those first responders and all those people on the line, and give comfort to all those folks who have lost loved ones in the past few months. Take care of our kids especially. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, we have minutes from July 27th for your consideration. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Abby, when I asked about the election committee, we'll be dealing with the word is electioneering, not election hearing, electioneering. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Council. Abby, on the last page, the sentence starting an email from Greg's office, could we change my name to employees? Thank you. Motion to approve.
Motion by Martin to approve the July 27th council minutes with corrections. Second by Bing. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all's in favor, show of hands. Unanimous. Okay, we have today's agenda. Is there any additions to the agenda?
Yes,
Jen?
I have a couple walk-ins.
Okay.
I have fire control giving an update, and I have a walk-in from DHRD, Justin, Ben, and employees.
Okay. Any other agendas, items? Motion by Ellie to approve today's agenda with modifications, second by Mike. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous. Council preference, the fire update or walk-ins first?
Walk-ins.
Okay, walk-ins. Who's first, Jen?
Justin, Ben.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for coming in.
And we also have Greg Spar here for the issue.
Okay. Got to use the, yeah, which, there you go.
Good morning, I'm Justin Ben. I'm the receptionist at DHRD.
Good morning, I'm Dallas Huoncorn. I'm an office assistant for DHRD in 477.
The issue today is with the transition from our payroll system, our checks. One of the other deductions is this, the ERL. We're trying to find out what that is, what that means. We can't find any meaning to what it is. If it is, what is it? Is it a one-time deduction or if it's occurring for the all 26 pay periods? If so, what is that deduction for? The other complaints were from our checks once were coming from Eagle Bank and now they're coming from Wells Fargo. People are wondering and concerned with when the transition happened from Eagle Bank to Wells Fargo, if all of our information is secure. A lot of concerns are with security issues with Wells Fargo, and that was one of the main concerns, especially from transportation. What else?
I got mine if you're done. I am having some problems with my summer youths. Only a few of them have been paid. From my understanding, went from my supervisor's hands to personnel. I haven't gotten, it's been hard getting an answer for all of that, but with also this switching payroll systems has kind of messed me up a little bit with getting checks to my daycare providers as well. Checks, paper checks, and direct deposit. I've been yelled at, screamed at, cried to these last 2 weeks. And really all I can say is, sorry, we'll figure it out. And it would have been nice to know that this switch was coming, maybe even months in advance, so we would have been prepared for this. Especially because DHRD does handle a lot of money and we do help with a lot of things. I don't see why there was no hey, no heads up, nothing. I think it would have been nicer, especially to know that maybe there should have been a survey put out to see if we even felt like this was going to help or do us any good, which clearly it hasn't. I know that it's, the start of a new system and you have to work out the kinks, but like I said, a heads up with this would have been way nicer than just throwing us into it and having us deal with the back end of it.
That note with misinformation, disinformation, that's where we have a lot of concerns. Because we're the forefront of the information. So we like to get that information correct before we like to say anything. And to gray shade people is really difficult, especially summer youth. We're having a lot of them quit this past pay period.
A lot of them have threatened saying that they're discouraged because they haven't been paid.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
this is their
Mr.
very
Wancorn,
first job.
do you know if the summer youth did not get paid today? Do we know? Because we
I
were
haven't
addressing.
sat around to wait for the checks yet.
we
I'm
were-
gonna wait for the checks when they come in to see who actually made it through on payroll. There was an updated list that was sent to my supervisor, but the list that was sent before that also wasn't accurate, so I'm not really,
So that list was also missing some employees also.
Right.
Okay. Well, Mr. Wancorn, Mr. Ben, I thank you guys for coming in, because those are valid questions. Those are valid questions that a lot of people were asking, and so I'm glad you guys come in. We have Greg here this morning. Perhaps Greg can talk about why we are now getting checks from Wells Fargo.
especially
And
knowing
the
that.
fee, there was a small fee that's being attached to everybody's check that nobody knew anything about.
Go ahead, Greg. You can edify us.
Good morning, council, and good morning. I want to make sure that I affirm for you that we are working through the process of correcting any errors on the ADP system, but I also want to reflect on something that you said, that you have some of your clients that are, this is the other system. Well, I want to make sure that we address both of those things, because I want to make sure that we're making sure that your clients through the 477 program are being taken care of. And if there are wrinkles there, I want to iron those out with you to make sure that you can effectively serve members that get that need. So let's make sure we have a conversation about that together, because those two issues aren't linked together. We don't see the ADP system linking into our accounts payable system, but I want to make sure that we take care of you and make sure that you are as the front person able to give good information and that we're supporting you on our AP side. So I want to make sure that we come back to that and answer that question. The ADP system does have a correction in it that we've made in the first run that we made for pay period 15. we noticed that the ERL, which is the employee-related, the employer portion of life insurance premium, was paid for by the employee. We had that $5.25 on the wrong side of the column. It was charged to the employee, where historically it is charged to the organization, and the employer pays the cost of that up to $5.25. We recognize that in the pay period 15 run, and on the pay period 16 run, you'll see that that $5.25 is not on the employee side. It's back on the employer side of the aisle, where it's being accounted for as an employee benefit paid for by the organization. For employees that have supplemented their life insurance program with an additional deduction, we see that now on the employee side as a calculation for life insurance deduction. So in pay period 15, those were reversed. In pay period 16, they are corrected, moving the up to $5.25 back onto pay period, back onto the employer side, and moving the employees' elected additional life insurance cost onto the correct employee deduction side of the column. I began working with a couple of employees in the field, showing them pay period 14, 15, and 16 in succession, where you can see the $5 is on the employee, is on the one side, and the life insurance cost is not there. And then you'll see in pay period 16 where it's been reversed and corrected. So that's on there, and I'm happy to address that with you personally because it's your personal confidential information. But I certainly appreciate you bringing in those concerns. I'm happy to walk you through them.
I do want to know, when was it decided that the payroll was going to switch systems? When did you guys make that decision, and how, just when? Yeah, I want to know from my timeline exactly when you guys decided this.
So beginning in December of last year, we had an irregularity in the pay process that happened during the Christmas week, where we worked diligently to make that corrected. And we are using, in that point in time, what's called the legacy system, which is through our existing platform. It had been around for about 10 or 12 years. It had not been being updated and supported by the software group that provided that software system. It's called Microy. In that time period, we began to look for other alternatives to make the system more efficient, to make the system more accurate, and to provide some more additional benefits to employees who can now see up to 3 years worth of pay, that can have access to their tax filing, that can punch their time electronically from their phone or from their workstation. The objective, frankly, eliminates the timesheet paperwork back and forth mechanism, and it also eliminates the PTO slip, where we can capture all of the potential time away, the PTO, bereavement, cultural leave, LWAP, or other even fitness time is able to be calculated on there together. It puts a little bit of the responsibility in the hands of the employee who's saying, I'm leaving now at 5 o'clock for my half hour of fitness, but it also helps reduce that paper pass back and the waste that comes there.
Okay.
We believe that after this, I beg your pardon, go ahead.
So essentially you talked about this and made this decision back in December, is what I'm hearing?
The decision to look for an alternative pay processing group began in December, and we took the next 60 days to look at a variety of different systems and settled on ADP for its use and functionality in the process. And then beginning in February, the back office, the GL, the payroll side, started to build what's called a mirror between our legacy system and ADP, so that by the time we got to the pay period 15 to mirror over from the legacy system onto ADP, we had been testing it for a handful of weeks, and that's when we started to see some of the irregularities that we've been trying to fix in the background.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still gonna stand on if there was a heads up, at least to the department head or some sort of thing. I think a lot of this would have went a little smoother. Maybe everybody would have had things down. So just in case things like this did happen, and thank you for talking with me, and I know that we'll have a personal conversation about the rest. I just wanted to let you guys know the frustrations that are coming in from over there because of also the emails that went out last week of saying DHRD needed to handle their clients better. Well, a lot of this, once it comes from my hands and it goes into DHRD accounting or wherever it goes, it's in someone else's hands after that. So yes, we are directing our people to the next hands that it went to. So if anybody says oh, they're not handling their clients correctly, we did what we were supposed to. We directed them to the people who the problem was at. If I could correct the problem, I would. If I could come and take these checks and hand them out myself, but I have to wait. And, there are protocols and processes, but we have been sending them over there because the problem is essentially on this side of the road and is not on our side.
Appreciate that then.
And on a
yeah,
personal note, if I could make a personal complaint, I thought we were supposed to enforce our tribal integrity by keeping our tribal dollar local. Outsourcing from Eagle Bank to Wells Fargo kind of outsourced our whole tribal dollar, didn't it?
Especially knowing that Wells Fargo is under investigation and has been multiple times for fraudulence and other things such as.
Because we're here to also strengthen the validity of our 14th Amendment toward our food, our tribal dollar, from my understanding.
Go ahead, Greg.
I appreciate those concerns that you've raised, and it is no secret that Wells Fargo has been under investigation for a long time for their retail banking practices. I'm well aware of those, and there are bad actors or unscrupulous people in the branches that have acted on their own at their own award in order to duplicate and do retail banking fraud in order to benefit themselves. We're aware of that and aware that that is in the public sphere. We are not a retail client of Wells Fargo Bank. We are not doing business with Wells Fargo Bank. ADP, their corporate relationship is through Wells Fargo Bank. When we began this process of exploring the payment option, I had several detailed discussions with Andrew West, who is the president of the bank there, and he is aware that if there was a competitive advantage or a financial reward or a financial benefit to the tribes or to the corporations that the tribes own, that we want to benefit the tribes and the corporation that the tribes own first. We want to do business with any of those internal corporations first. And when there is no competitive advantage to staying with Eagle Bank, we use the ADP system to merely sweep out the money that is owed to the staff and employees for them to process the direct deposit to men and women who are receiving the direct deposit, to create the check, which arrives so that we can put them in the bundles to people that receive paychecks today. They're in the red bag. They're in the red bags right now, being ready to be distributed to each of the departments, where just like in the legacy system, they were receiving their checks on the Tuesday of pay date. The ADP system is providing those checks to us so that they can be delivered to those departments without a disruption in our pay date and schedule.
Yeah, go ahead, Martin.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair and Greg. And I brought this up Thursday, a lot of the same concerns. I was worried that today was going to be the same kind of things. There's always been other places that have had issues. So I did ask Greg to have more communication with staff and employees, especially timekeepers. Greg, the new one is credit not getting money and their mortgages not being paid and things like that. And so, there was issues with retirement. I worry about the interest that people lost out on. There would have been nice to have an email about this fee that's been reversed. I asked Greg to do better last week, and we all didn't need to do better because we ultimately are the ones that stop and we're the backstop of everything. And so, I apologize to you. I've been doing the same thing. I've been apologizing to tribal employees and tribal members about this because apparently I answer my phone or I respond to texts or messages, and it's the worst thing to do in this position is to say I told you so, but here we are. So again, I'm sorry that this has happened. We've been assured that all the summer youth employees and a few of the other employees will get checks today or direct deposits.
And it wouldn't have been more of a problem if the summer youths who weren't paid on, I might say incorrectly, maybe pay period 15 or 16. For some reason, somebody told those kids they were promised a $200 incentive. Hibbler is the one who stopped those checks from going out. I'm not sure, that's new to me, and I just want to put that out in the air and let you guys know that had also happened. I'm the assistant for summer youth this year. It was given to Josie Drennenbeck because Tracy is handling ARPA. So once that all came, all of a sudden people are telling us, yeah, the kids who weren't paid were promised this money, where's it at? And nobody spoke to me, Josie or Tracy, about it until somebody said that Patricia Hibbler had put a stop to those checks. So I just wanted to make that clear and out in the air as well, that also had happened.
And we put a letter in this, I hope it's going out with this, to all the summer youth employees, thanking them and apologizing for kind of the issues that we've had this year. And I mean, that's all we can do is learn from our mistakes and apologize and move on. And we're trying to do that here and make sure that our staff do the same because, part of it I know is inputting PAFs and all those things and doing those in a timely manner, and there are deadlines on those as well. And so, the system we're in is not the most friendly, but the 200, Greg, if you could follow up on that and see if that was promised to people, we got to make sure that that's fulfilled if that was something that was offered.
I do
And if we do it for one,
understand
we got
that.
to do it for all of the summer youth.
Well, I do understand that communication is a big thing, but I can see you guys are communicating well, especially with Greg. I'm thinking that our communication problem between departments is between department heads as well. So if that could be addressed, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. Keep up the good work. Thank you guys for the work you do. Jen, who's next?
Fire update.
Fire update. Jen, do you have the resolution? Okay. One of the first things we wanted to do is do our disaster declaration resolution approval. So council's all taking a chance to look at that.
Yeah, I got it.
So, yep, there we go. Can you guys see that on your screen? The resolution for state of emergency?
Motion by Martin. Second by Len. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all's in favor? I think I lost Jen. I think unanimous. Go ahead, Len.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the council. So Tony, this is the first step that will allow us to start accessing FEMA dollars, correct?
Yeah, it'll start allowing us to access multiple things, not only, hopefully sooner than later, with our request for some resources and support, but also extend that, helping hand into rehab and protection of these lands after the incidents are over.
Okay, so after the end of the day yesterday, I've had some producers and ranchers reach out to me because a lot of their rangeland was burned, and so they have no hay. And so when the FEMA dollars become available, can we get information out there to them to tell them exactly how they are able to access these dollars? And if we could do it ASAP.
Yeah,
They're
and
starting to worry now.
that's something I'm gonna have to learn more on, and hopefully, there you are.
Mark,
Hopefully Mark knows more on the hay part too.
okay, Mark, you gonna comment on that?
Yeah, actually, I'm coming down to get more of the briefing here too, is find out some more about the acres burnt, exact acres burnt, and the plans that are going ahead. We are actually pre-planning right now with staff to go down and talk with FSA and USDA and RCS to find out what we have in effect for the lost forage program that they have down there for our ranchers to be able to access any kind of this emergency funding for lost forage due to the wildland fire. We have talked with USDA and RCS before about emergency equip contracts and that can be done for fire. So we're going to go down and get a bunch of pertinent information and hopefully be able to get it into the Charcusta so our ranchers know, but we will be getting it out to the ranchers that are directly affected right now to be able to get them to the right contacts for them to be moving forward in the USDA system for these fundings.
Okay, thanks, Mark. If you can just keep us updated, weekly on the FEMA funds and if we need to come up with our own fund until we get access to these to help our producers, yeah, just let us know because
Yes,
I burned a lot of ground yesterday.
a lot of ground and a lot of fence lines, and a lot of our ranchers and producers right now are feeling the pinch with droughty situations that we're already in the D2 drought monitor, and it's just going to increase. So they're already talking about if they're going to have to start feeding hay, that they're going to go under. So I've had many conversations yesterday and today with our producers.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mark.
All right, first, before the fire, updates, we'll talk about stage 2 fire restrictions went into effect last night at midnight. So, stage 2 is no campfires, no driving off-road, no internal combustion engines, and then also hoot owl is in effect from 1 p.m. to 1 a.m.
So just clarification on chainsaws, no chainsaws?
Nope, not after 1
Not after
p.m.
one? Okay.
Yep. And then you're required to stay 2 hours after you're finished doing your work to see if you started anything.
Usually get all my firewood cut by 10 a.m.
And then also, with that, we went to
Then I have my heart attack.
extreme fire danger also yesterday. So,
We, Jen sent out the support letter to, top of the governor's request for disaster, the support letter. So we did that also this morning, revised it with Melissa. So that should help with the ag, thing in particular, Mark.
this morning at 10:30, I'll be on the fire restrictions call, and could be some counties they're thinking, but not the forest. Lolo hasn't had the starts.
Okay, and to support that decision of stage 2, usually it's driven by a lot of human start activity that we've had, which we haven't in the past 2 years because of I don't want to give them too much props there, but we've had good messaging now, and our public has taken responsibility.
Good job, Ron.
Appreciate that.
Good leadership.
But this year, I supported the stage 2 early, not necessarily early, but without the human starts because of just how much activity we had in the past, over the weekend. That if we had anything else start, it could have been too much for us. And right now, if just to cut out the chance of having a human start, increases our effectiveness of stopping what we do have and preventing for any other acres burning on the reservation, so.
And like always, with going into stage 2, there's a little bit of precip forecasted. So we should have went into stage 2 a little earlier.
Order a team and go into
Order-
stage 2 and it starts to rain. Perfect.
I got a question for Ron.
Go ahead, Lance.
So Ron, in regards to the lack of resources, how many AD crews are we able to put out?
0. Yeah, the leadership, we have some young kids that are trying to join the fire program, right, through the AD program. We had 16 in the rookie class this year, which is probably the largest class we've had in, I don't know, 5 years. Really good kids, but no leadership. There's no one that's a crew boss that's ready to take them. There's no 3 squad bosses that are ready to go. And yeah, it's unfortunate. We used to put out 12. When I started, we got 0. So we just roll them into our organization and put them in our fire trucks and under the direction of our guys. We just start spreading that way. So it's not like you have a 20-person crew showing up on a bus. You got 2 6-packs full of 10 people, and it's a mix between our guys, forestry, and the AD program.
So tribal council, this is Rita Henderson. She's from Nevada. She came in for a PIO detail, help out with the information on the Big Knife Fire, but now we have quite a bit more for her to help with, and I'll let her say her piece.
Thank you, CT. Welcome, Rita.
Hi, everyone. Rita Henderson, as CT said, I'm usually with the BLM out of the Reno, Nevada office. I'm the state's media lead, social media. So I have some experience with what you guys are experiencing now. In any of the updates that we're sending out, I hope that's, I just got here Friday afternoon, so it's been a little chaotic working on the reservation. But if there's any feedback with the updates you're getting, please let us know and reach out. There's a info line that goes to dispatch, and they know how to get a hold of CT and I. So if you have any questions or feedback on the updates, please let me know. I'm happy to be here.
Go ahead, Lance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One thing I would like to suggest when we are talking about evacuation, if we can be precise, be specific, so people know exactly where to go and things like that. I think that would be very helpful to everybody, but just be really specific on where people need to be going.
Yeah, I like that comment. Maybe we have to do some pre-planning. I think Dale should be involved in that. We tried to pull him in, we had him try to tie in with Mark Clary. We had so much going on. So Mark was in Nirada dealing with what might be the Elmo fire, again, Elmo 2, I guess. And we pulled Dale in, and it was tough. We didn't hear any real direction. And I know you're wanting that from us, but I'd like to push that to the responsibility of that to Dale. And that's his program where he finds the shelters and he has that set up. Because I'm anchor, flank, and hold. And that's what I want all of our group to do. And this one will get information about the fires, and hopefully Dale feeds the information to us and we can post it. But I really think we need that position to fill that void. And that's where I'm at. The evacuations will be handled by the sheriff's department if they do materialize and the button is pushed. So the sheriff's department will involve tribal police, I'm sure. But that's where that's at. I know you hit me up a few times. I had a lot of people saying, where do I send people? And I didn't know which fire even, it could be from Nirada, it could be from all these places were starting to hit the pin. I didn't even know where to direct because I wasn't sure which fire the request was coming from. So I hesitated to say anything. I almost said, if you got smoke in your nose, leave your home. I didn't know what to say. I've never seen it like that. I've never seen us get that type of a challenge ever. Speaking of that, so on Sunday morning, we kicked into a brief lightning storm that went across the reservation and caused a few fires, kind of in that Middle Ridge area. One of them was ended up being called Middle Ridge. It's currently 9,100 acres in size. Robert McCrae is the incident commander. We do have a power line to the north We do have a lot of, there's a house down at the bottom on that west end, Millinax. And, we're trying to, make sure that we protect that. And tying back to CT's restrictions and not going cross country. So we were walking our cat cross country and we sparked it. And that's a challenge yesterday, was trying to catch trying to catch that fire. It's that dry. So we're marrying water equipment up with our cats as we work across punching lines. So we're in a critical situation right now. So the restrictions are well warranted, especially with the amount of activity that we've had and how dry it is. Looking at go ahead.
So looking at, I pulled up Middle Ridge for you guys here, for the location of it. This is Big Bend of the river here. Horseshoe Bend is right up here. Sloan's Bridge is to the bottom right of the map. So if you guys know, this is kind of the Hobson to Oliver Point kind of area, which has, you know, stringers and fingers of timber on the top there. A lot of that heat, and this map is showing you, infrared map showing you where the heat's kind of captured at. A lot of it's captured right in those finger strings there. Some of it on that leading edge of the west side. Looks like the fire pushed a little more west than it did the first day. The first day was definitely wind-driven fire, pushed it from the top of the knob here, east towards the river, and did jump the river below, in between Horseshoe Bend and Big Bend. So the rest of the fire spread was north that first night. This is where a lot of that timber string comes out towards Buffalo Bridge. We are looking at doing a closure of this area from Sloan's Bridge to Buffalo Bridge, and then anything around the cutoff road to kind of close off this area. This isn't a very high recreational use area, and we want to be able to keep people out of there so our firefighters can do what they need to do, besides worrying about if there's somebody on the next ridge over trying to look at the fire. So our closure maps, we're still developing, but we're gonna be putting those out to everyone, emails or public, as soon as we have them finalized.
Perfect.
So Tony, people on the river will be okay? People in the water course?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No issue there. Have fun.
And we've had that situation before, you know, with Moss Ranch and other fires.
Yeah.
Where, you know, floaters, people like to float by and watch the fire going on, so. It seemed to not be too much of an issue before, so, we'll keep it open.
Can you throw things out? I'm open.
I used to dive for cold ones on the sand.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
Swim. That's good. So do you want to pull up, Nirata then, Tone? Talk about that one. It's 8,431 acres. That one started in a rough spot. You want to show them where it started?
Yeah, so started right down here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, started right down here in the corner. As you know, you go around, you know, the old town of Nirata here towards Elmo. There is another, my mic's not on.
This one is definitely a lightning strike. Okay.
All our lightning strikes, except for, and I'm not positive of, Communication Butte. That was kind of an odd night. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, so this one started in that finger string right on the highway, just east of the highway on the corner there. And again, wind-driven fire, pushed multiple directions, headed both towards the old deep draw fire along the south side of the river or the highway, but then also jumped the highway and started going up towards Cromwell or Hog Heaven area. And it's kind of interesting if you pull up Google Earth and you see the old fire scar from Elmo, which is on there right now. It follows almost the exact line over. It's starting to spill into the old fire, which has given us opportunity and potential to stop it there. A lot of that vegetation's already been removed. Grass has grown back very, very well. There is some down woody debris, but hopefully giving us a good anchor spot to stop it. It has reached into Hog Heaven, Cromwell, the bottom drainage of that, which is right next to the edge of the reservation. Forestry did do a treatment in there probably 10 years ago now.
Yep.
Opened it up, given some opportunity. There's some hillsides, grassy hillsides, light flashy field, which, is still pushing, fairly quick. And we have, jumpers on this one. leading.
Yeah, we got smoke jumpers that are leading. Tyson Atkins is the IC.
And they, and some equipment that they're trying to wrap around. We did have line constructed on the northwest side of it. They did protect a few structures. Not sure if they protected a few of the outbuildings that were out there. But looking like we can wrap around that hopefully this week, but we are focusing more of our attention on this as being one of the more priorities, just based on the fire activity we've seen with Elmo and the wind possibilities of pushing it back towards Lake Mary Ronan. So
Yeah, all the fire runs are pushing it towards Lake Mary Ronan. It's roughly 5 miles away, and Elmo put a pretty good push that way, so we're kind of concerned with that. So we're working with, it's a Flathead County fire, so Lincoln Chute, Flathead County is running all the evacuations. They have one in effect from Highway 28, the corner there, Narada, all the way through the top of Browns Meadow Road. All of those people have been evacuated. I'm not sure where they put them. I haven't had a chance to talk to Chute. I think he's digging line actually along the reservation boundary. They're really trying hard to keep that on the res, which would be great. We've communicated with the state of Montana. They're going to be attending our team in briefing, and but they're applauding our efforts right now to keep it where it's at.
Again, we are looking at closing off the Hog Heaven and Chief Cliff management areas for recreation and use like that. We do have some logging activity going on up there. We have notified the loggers. A lot of them have tried to remove any wood they had in their decks and move it out. But right now we have a administrator, timber sale administrator on site with them and in contact with dispatch in case anything comes closer. So they are on call to move, and they will be following the hoot owl restrictions also.
And I will say we flew it yesterday, and it looks like a few outbuildings had gone. Tin roof laying on the floor, and a lot of heat signature looked like logs that had burned pretty hot. So I'm pretty sure we lost a few outbuildings, but like Tony said, no living structures. Right next to it is a fire called Mill Pocket. It's roughly 800 acres. Go ahead.
Just a second, Ron. Go ahead.
Just a quick question. So the tenants at the Farmer Mickey Pablo Ranch, are they still under evacuation?
Were they evacuated?
Yeah.
I did not even know that. I've not heard one way or the other, so
Okay,
I'll
if
have
you
my
can-
guys get on that and figure it out.
Okay, if you can find that out for us.
Is that Mike Kenville?
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
So I don't have a personal map from the Mill Pocket fire, but it is located on the larger map just west of the Nyrata fire.
So it's looking at about 800 acres in size. We've got 2 dozers, about 4 people on that fire.
You know which one of those fires started first?
Same storm.
Same storm.
Yeah, so those ones were after the other ones had already caught our attention. So
I just wondered if the one to the west or maybe spotted the one to the east.
no, no, they're too far. No. So yeah, but it's lightning caused fire, took off up the hill. We got Rob Burney, he's an AD that's part of our program. He's the incident commander. Got a couple dozers and a drip torch, and they're chasing it around. He feels pretty comfortable he'll catch it, but he's gonna need a lot of resources to hold it. So that fire doesn't have much in terms of risk values. I mean, we have cultural values. The commercial timber values aren't there due to the Chippy Creek fire that burned through there in '07. So cattle, I mean, it seems like all of these have livestock implications and feed. So looking at that disaster relief would be a wise choice for us this year. I appreciate what you're doing there in terms of going to FEMA and declaring an emergency. I think we missed an opportunity maybe in 21 when Boulder occurred. So we're learning. So we talked about Nirada. Oh, communications. We got one called Communications Buttes right across from the Bison Range, right across from Dixon. That was the interesting one. You want to talk about that one a little bit, CT, about the cause?
So that one was 12:30, in the morning, Sunday, just before the lightning strikes started coming through. People noticed headlights over on Ferry Basin. And from there, that was at 12:30. I think the storm came through at 1:30, hour later. So Devlin, the Fromm boys headed over Sunday morning to investigate. And there was a gentleman from Plains that got lost and was driving around up there trying to get out. And it's still an investigation, but we're fairly certain what started the fire, but I'm not going to talk about that because it is an investigation, open investigation. But human caused. The gentleman was arrested while he was waiting, to get found. He decided to partake in some whatever he was on. So yeah, recreational drug or something like that. And so he's an elderly man, probably might have dementia. Didn't know anything, didn't know what he did, didn't know his car burned up. He had no clue. Yeah, the car ended up burning up. So
It was crazy.
it was
I got to
a
tip
wild
my
one.
hat to Richard Van Swearingen and Rich Fisher. There's the two manners, about 150 acres, and they got a crazy guy running around, and they handled it pretty well. Power line involved in that one. There was an area where Rich Fisher walked into and his legs started tingling. So we had to really do some things for firefighter safety right there. Kind of let that fire get some growth so we didn't get anybody electrocuted. And then we apprehended the crazy man and fought the fire. And right now, that's the biggest success story, is that fire. I'm gonna estimate it at 1,500 acres. It was flowing yesterday. 1,500 acres, 3-manner. Had a tribal skidgen on it now and a few other resources, but not much. Jumped the river in several spots at Faust Slough. We worked with Charlotte Rural Fire Department and were able to hold those, keep them from going into the Bison Range. It was directly in protecting the homes right there at the Faust Slough area. So what an exciting night of fire activity. And that ended that update. Big Knife, she's holding at 1,991 acres. And she's been very well behaved and going uphill. It's looking like it's starting to back into Agency Creek. So that's going to be an area that we're probably going to start pounding the heck out of that draw. We do have an incident management team coming in tonight. We had 1,800. We're going to in-brief them. It's a fella from Idaho that was he was deputy IC of Elmo. So he kind of knows the drill. And so we talked about it a little bit last night. They'll roll in at 1,800. They'll take over, assume command of 3 fires. At this point, it'll be Big Knife, Nirada, and Mill Pocket. We'll try to put the center Middle Ridge to bed by our own group, and staff up heavy for initial attack. And it's right in the middle of the reservation. We can go north, south, east, or west pretty fast. And then I think it's going to be a fire that we will handle ourselves. So I guess we're looking at possibly 2 camps for this team. One would be in Elmo at the Power Grounds that would support the Nirada fire, and the Mill Pocket fire, and one in Arley that would support Big Knife.
Okay, just a comment, Ron. So I assume we have all our tribal contractors working. I haven't got no calls.
Anybody wants to answer your phone, man? Yeah. I was asking the guys flying with an helicopter, works at MVP. Do you own a cat? Yeah, we're there. It's there. We've got everybody out. Right now, we're trying to make sure that we have an organized package so we'll give the team that there's no confusion where people are, and they have a firm understanding of the numbers and what we've got going. we're understaffed on every fire except for Big Knife. And so there'll be a bunch of orders. We're currently running 240 people out of Ronan and 170 out of Big Knife. So we're running about, was that 410 people? And a lot of orders that are unfilled and things. So we're trying to ramp up. We'll probably have, I think by the time this all ends, we'll be close to 700 people on the reservation that are fighting fire. Okay.
Go ahead. Oh, yeah, what's your question?
Yeah, I hear you. That was a bad report. It was a bad day. That was something I've never seen before.
Yeah, definitely hit the fan there on Sunday. No doubt about that.
Hit the fan, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Bing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ron, how far did it go up into this? Did it ever reach the South Fork at all?
Yeah, it's up right now. No, it didn't reach the South Fork. Off the map over here to the far right, upper right, that would be the closest identifier would be Whitehorse. It's not on the map yet, it's still there. So it's kind of curling around that Big Knife draw. That Big Knife draw does go a little bit of south there before it hits anything designated into the South Fork type area. There's South Sioux up on top there. It's kind of more in between South Sioux and Whitehorse right now.
And is there a fire meeting tonight, an RDA community meeting? I went down last night. I heard there was one last night and I went down, there was none. So I was just wondering if there was going to be a community meeting tonight.
Said there was rumor of a community meeting last night, but there
No,
wasn't one.
so once the team takes over tonight, we're thinking Thursday at the earliest for them to do a town meeting.
Yeah, but there will be an in-brief of the team tonight at 1800 at the community center. So council's more than welcome. I've handed out the agenda, the in-brief agenda, and those are the folks we're gonna invite. If tribal council wants to welcome the team in, and then we could take it into introductions, it's up to you. It's either gonna be a council representative or Shane. She'll facilitate the in-brief, right? And then we'll do introductions. We'll talk about the situation, try to get all the ICs that we can to that in-brief to tell folks what's going on different fires. Delegation of authority with this package. We'll talk about dispatch, ordering systems, things of that nature. Aircraft assigned, overhead, equipment, and information. And then course of action, the ICs will talk, or ops will talk about what's going on each fire. And then the other agencies can comment. So I'll probably take that tribal council welcome and move that to the front. Then we'll close out with whoever, likely be Shane, and then the incoming IC. But the meeting should be brief. Briefings are meant to be brief, and it's going to be quick. And then I think the biggest part of that briefing that's value is when we break out and talk to each other one-on-one. So if I've got a concern on equipment and Two Teeth handles equipment, I'm going right to you, sir, and we're going to figure it out. And that's what we just try to do, is connect people in that meeting. Brief understanding what's going on, connect people, and then start letting them go. Give them clear authority, clear line of direction of what we want. And each fire is a little different. So this is going to be a good in-brief. Yep.
Yeah, once things start to calm down a little bit, if we can set up arrangements for council to apply the fires.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Better pack a lunch.
Okay.
It took us like 2 hours, man. It was a long one. You bet. Damn. Yeah, we'll get you. We're getting another helicopter in from Billings today. So we'll have 2 type 3 ships that we can fly, little ships that we can fly people around.
Go ahead, Bing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hey, Ron, how far did the fire come down to where it's fell by Espinozo's place?
We feel pretty good about where that one's set. The other night, divisions worked late and they just brought fire down to the road into the canal. and held it there. So now we've got black line against the line, so that's a good thing. And now we're just watching it spread. So if it continues to move up, we're okay, and if it starts to come down, we'll meet it. But I think that first road's the 4100 road, and that's where it's not any further downslope.
Oh, Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, guys. I got, my dad in Dixon and my mom's house in Arley up the agency, so I appreciate you guys
Oh, yeah.
more. Always appreciate you guys, but more so than Sunday was pretty crazy.
Oh, yeah.
One thing that with that little agency, like, you know, Sanders County doesn't really care about that area, you know, and if they're doing the evacuation orders, I shudder to think that they didn't get there in time.
Right.
And there was a lot of misinformation. There's kids going door to door telling people to leave.
Oh, really?
Someone kind of a contractor associated with you guys, or not with you guys, but a contractor that's
Yeah.
a subcontractor probably. His kids were running around telling the agency to evacuate.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that one was, you know, like I don't know what we can do with, you know, because Sanders has Nirada and all that, you know, or whatever, you know, like, but yeah, it was a lot of,
And actually,
crazy.
Sanders ended up being Flathead.
yeah, right. And
It's
so,
Flathead County.
you know, when those were blown up and, yeah, it was scary. I had my dad all packed up and
Oh, yeah.
everything.
Who told you to pack up?
I'll tell you off.
Yeah. Oh, was it you? That's good.
No. I mean, I called CT because I was wondering.
Yeah, I like
But-
that.
but I was-
This guy's supposed to have all the info, so yeah.
Well, we were ready. I mean,
Questioning-
that's what we basically
Yeah.
were
Oh,
telling
yeah.
all the people down there is just get ready. And
I spent the night in your grassy fields next to you, man. There's a lot of grass in there this year. Yeah, and that, who is that fellow that works for, Charlotte Fire? He did a good job. Joel Furman. We were engaged, and the bike range had some people there. We had a few travel contractors there, so we were ready for it. But, as ready as you can be, right? Yeah, and everyone's been asking, well, what have you guys done? It's only been 24 hours, 48 hours ago.
Go ahead, Tony.
No, nothing. I was just gonna say that's all we had. Sorry, we didn't get on the schedule and this was a lot of information, a bigger briefing than usual, but there was a lot of activity that night for sure.
You haven't done that.
Definitely.
Are you? No.
Well, good job, everyone.
Thank you.
CT,
Thank you guys for
Ron, Rita, Tony, thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, I had one complaint with the closure of the highway there. There was no signs at 93, so people drive all the way to Moe's. And they stopped them there and had to drive back up to 93 and go down Ravalli. And then on Highway 200, there was no sign, so people drive to McLeod's there and have to turn around. So just letting the law enforcement know, it'd be nice to at least set a sign out, letting them know, because people had driven quite a ways that night to get down and had to turn around, and drive all the way back. They weren't notified.
Okay, yeah, that's a good suggestion. Yeah, we'll work with the county and we'll even work with our own logistics staff here, that if we do have a closure to expand those points of notification of those closures so it doesn't get people in a bind like that. Thanks. We'll look at that.
Thank you. Keep it up. Just keep that wind from coming up. All right, bring on the rain. All right, next we have Jody. Jody, are you there? Hello, Jody? Okay, 5-minute break. Oh, she's there? Okay, no break.
Hey, sorry, yeah, I was on another Zoom call while we were waiting, so, Thank you guys for meeting with us today. So Chanel and I are here to ask for authorization to apply for the Indian Community Development Block Grant fiscal year 23. And our proposed plan would be to create a home improvement program force account, which we would hire a foreman and a laborer, and they would be focused entirely on the home improvement program. We have a really hard time finding contractors to do those jobs, and so we want to try to do it ourselves.
Any questions for Jody? Seeing no questions, I would entertain a motion. Motion by Martin to approve the application to the Indian Community Block Grant. Second by Len. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, show of hands. Unanimous.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. We will be back because there is a public comment that is required for us, and you guys have to certify that we met that obligation. So we'll do the public comment period now, and then we'll be back with that resolution.
Okay, thank you, Chanel. Thank you, Jody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, quick break. 5 minutes. 4.3. Okay, we'll come back into session from our break. And we have forestry. Good morning. Oh, you gotta push the button, get the red light.
Good morning, I'm Sheena Shaw-Peet. I'm the reforestation forester for forestry. I also run the white bark pine restoration program for the tribe here. I am here today to ask request or approval for a grant that we had been awarded for from American Forest. We didn't have to apply for this grant. They were just awarded it to us. I've been working with them with our white bark pine restoration efforts, and they wanted to give us some money for an internship for a tribal student. It was originally for a college student, but I was telling them that, I'm really big on trying to recruit more youth into the forestry field, especially tribal youth as well for here for our tribal forestry. And I understand that we kind of have some not issues, but there's just a low rate of tribal opportunities for tribal students within that age group between 8th and high school. I do know that we have the tribal workforce program and that, but just another opportunity out there for forestry in that forestry field. I talked with them and we got the 10,000 for the tribal high school greenhouse student or a college greenhouse for the 50,000, and then they awarded us another 60, or excuse me, another the 10,000 was for the internship for the nursery. The 50,000 is for a seasonal white bark pine technician, just to help out more with our white bark pine efforts that we're having out there. So just wanted approval for that. And then there was another one here on the bottom that was a grant award from the National Forest Foundation for greenhouse infrastructure. That was through Matt Ogden, our greenhouse manager. As the information from the American Forest I had attached down below. They had even added in the 16% there as well with the funds that they will be rewarding us with.
So a little background, this was a coordination with American Forest. It's been going on for a few years with American Forest. They've been great supporters of the tribe here in our work for white bark pine. Sheena Shaw has done an excellent job in representing the tribe in different conferences, talks, gatherings, and this is the fruit of that effort of American Forest really just coming to the table saying, hey, if we give you $50,000, you'd take it. Of course we would. Just to continue our efforts in white bark pine and our study and our restoration strategy and efforts here on the reservation and help lead the crown of the continent and the nation in restoration planning. So as Sheena Shaw said, this wasn't a grant we had to apply for. This was a more like a funding agreement that the American Forest wanted to provide the tribe with some funding to continue their efforts. The other thing she mentioned, the National Forest Foundation, the same kind of lines of that. I think James and Matt came in here previously, getting permission to apply for a National Forest Foundation grant. They awarded us. After that, they reached out again to us and said, hey, we got some extra money. You guys can you use it? And of course, we ain't gonna turn down money to be able to use for our restoration strategies or our greenhouse development. So we said, for sure, we'll take some more money.
Maybe object? No, just joking.
So Sheena Shaw and Matt have worked with contracts and grants, and set up an account and dotted their I's, crossed their T's with Kelly Parker up in contracts and grants. So
Any questions? I would entertain a motion to accept the grant awards from American Forest and the National Forest Foundation. Motion by Bing, second by Jimmy. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all is in favor, show of hands. Unanimous? Hey, good job.
yes, very well, good job.
Shake the trees.
Thank you.
We're after more than just pine cones out of those trees.
No, we've gone full circle with our restoration efforts, so I'm very proud.
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, Drewer, Rob, Mark.
Mr. Chairman, Council, good morning. Thanks for hearing us today. I wanted to kind of set this up a little bit. We have a couple asks on contracts, but I wanted to introduce Mark Simpson, who we're transitioning in to be our Director of the Irrigation Program, Irrigation Infrastructure. We had some staffing adjustments and we're going through the details and the work of getting Mark in there and has proven a very useful asset. He had been on the team for some time before and is moving in. I, for one, am very appreciative of what he's bringing to the job. So I will turn it over to him and he'll walk you through the asks for council.
Thank you, Rob. Well, congratulations, Mark, I guess.
Thank you. So the first contract modification is a modification to WWC Engineering. They provided services for the 31A canal chute bid documents and then supported us through those efforts, reviewing bids, making sure that the contractors were qualified and then giving us a recommendation. They also are the engineering firm on the Falls Creek diversion restoration effort. And they did some wetland delineation there and provided a document on that discussing, I guess, a field report of their findings with the methods and everything there. So this modification would be an additional $19,800 to their existing contract, bringing a new not to exceed total to $348,100.
Any questions from council?
There,
Martin?
I'll make a motion, as long as Alyssa says it's all right.
Ms. Peel, we're asking. She says yes. Okay, motion by Martin to approve the modification to the WWC Engineering for the amount of $19,800. Raising the not to exceed amount to $348,100. Is there a second? Second by Ellie. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all is in favor? Unanimous? Oh, Len's abstaining. 8-4, 1 abstention.
The second item I have today is a change order or modification. This would be modification number 1 to the Core and Main contract. Core and Main is one of the suppliers of HDPE pipe that will be going in the Arley area for the Jocko K Canal pipeline conversion. This change order has, I guess, three components to it. The first being the delivery of the pipe. The second, an update in the contract terms, which is moving any dispute resolution, change in legal jurisdiction over to tribal court system. I believe the original contract did not have that, so this language will be added to that. And the third thing that it is an update to the point of contact. The original point of contact was my predecessor. So this will change all the documents over into my name and contact information. So usually when these go out for bid, transportation costs are included in the bids. This pipe was broke out into 4 separate components because of all the appurtenances that went along with the job. There's pipe, there's valves, there's everything. So it was broke into 4 parts. This is part A. The other parts B, C, and D actually all include delivery already in them. So the original intent was to try to support local trucking firms and have them just go get the pipe once it was made. What we found out was in doing that though, there was going to be a 9% sales tax added for pickup in Arizona. If we had a separate, like our own contract with the trucking firm to go get it and deliver it to us, and that amounted to roughly $550,000 additional charges in just sales tax. So we pulled that back and re-engaged Core and Main to see if they would allow or take over the delivery again. And by doing so, that changes the point of sale back to Missoula because Core and Main has an office there. So we will not be subject to a 9% sales tax. We put it out for kind of some bids to get an idea of what the delivery charges would be. And with Morrison Merrily Engineering's assistance, we reviewed those and they came back with a recommendation that we use Jones Brothers Trucking out of Missoula. There's roughly 150 loads of pipe that need to be delivered from both Washington and Arizona. And Jones Brothers gave us a bid of $535,700. So this modification is to include that with Core and Main's original contract. The original contract amount to Core and Main was $6,030,627.65. And so with the addition of the transportation charges of $535,700, it would bring Core and Main's total contract price to $6,566,327.65.
So question mark, since Core and Main, obviously the transportation is a subcontract of Core and Main's contract. So why can't there be still tribal vendors or truckers?
So we, like I said, we went out and solicited bids for the transportation. We got 3 bids back. One was Jones Brothers. One was Nathan Smith, a tribal member out of Arley. And one was Cahoon Construction and Fire, also a tribal member. So Jones Brothers came back at $532,800. Nathan Smith was $879,200, which is 65% more than the low bid. And Cahoon's bid to haul was $972,370, which was a 82% more than what the low bid was. And Jones Brothers submitted a note to us that even though they are not a tribal business, they employ several tribal members, as well as having employees that live on the reservation. I'm gonna probably pronounce this wrong. Demian Swab is who we've been in contact with, and he said he graduated from Arley High School, is married to a tribal member, and all of his kids are enrolled members. So while not officially a IPO business, they do support and employ tribal members. And being their bid was so much lower than everybody else, that was the recommendation that we decided to go with.
Thank you for that background. Yeah, they far exceed the amount to offer them the opportunity to match the low bid, I believe. Go ahead, Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Grew up in Arley, graduated with Damien, and kind of had some conversations with him. And it sounds like, yeah, they're doing their best. They just hired one of our other schoolmates as a driver, and definitely Damien's got the right heart for knowing the Arley community. So I'd make the motion to approve. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Motion by Martin to approve modification 1 to Cora May's contract 23-139 to increase the contract amount by $535,000. Second by Bing. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Did Jennifer vote or she? She's gone now. Okay. Okay, unanimous. Any more, Mark? Is that it? That was it? Okay.
Council.
Mr. Chairman, council, thank
How come we don't have a big sales tax like that what Arizona does?
you. It's all in the gas tax, I think.
Yeah, go ahead, Terry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Storage, where's your delivery spot? Do you have something secured?
So we are in negotiations with a landowner on Dumontier Road for 12 acres to create a pipe yard for 2 years' time. Yep.
That. Go ahead, Len, and then Mike.
So why aren't we using tribal land? Is there any tribal land near that we can use?
So we looked at a couple of different tribal parcels. The 3 parcels that tribal lands had readily available are on the south side of the river, and it's not very flat ground, and there's trees and everything on it, so it just wasn't suitable to stack thousands of feet of pipe on.
How many acres are you gonna need?
12.
12 acres?
Yes, the project is divided up into 6 phases, and all of the phases of pipe were all procured. So we have lots of pipe.
Okay.
And there's a safety factor also of not wanting to stack the pipe and have to reload it and drive down the highway with it or anything. So the location that we're working to secure is in the heart of the project area, and we'll never have to cross over the highway once it's unloaded.
Okay, 'cause I was thinking maybe Lamoose or somewhere on Shaw Flats would, I know we have tribal ownership there, that would be ideal. So if we can, look a little harder and see if we can't find any tribal members that would be willing to do that, or tribal property, so.
So the landowner that I am currently negotiating with is Glenda Dumontier.
Oh, okay.
So
Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mark, I'm just wondering how I can get some projects going on the west side without having to wait 10 years. I had a complaint from the fellow that owns the little trailer court there, just south, not south, it's just northeast of Hot Springs. And the irrigation canal is leaking so much, it's flooding his trailer court. And boy, if we could get a project like that taken care of, because that, I don't imagine that ditch is gonna change, but it sure needs to be lined. But there is water everywhere there.
and there is, you know, the sheer size of the irrigation project overall is a real challenge. I'm trying to take more of a systematic approach to repair of, you know, starting out in the Jocko Valley with the K Canal headworks and the pipeline coming on, what are the diversions up north there, the North Fork project and those. So trying to, you know, work my way through one area rather than a shotgun approach of scattering projects all over the place. I hear your concerns. There are plenty of canal leaks all over the reservation that need to be taken care of for, you know, water is a valuable resource and we need to secure it as best as we can.
There is an ongoing master planning effort led by Seth Makepeace that our whole staff has been part of and supported. And I'm going to check with Seth, but I'm pretty certain that that's on. We have maps of each of the regional areas with you know, dozens of potential projects and hundreds of millions of dollars in each area of potential that we're trying to focus on how to pare it down to get to the key priorities that council wishes, that the compact demands and all these other balances of water resource and repairing FIPS. So it's I'm glad we have someone like Seth kind of being the thinking general, bringing us through this, and it's definitely a process that I will elevate that to his attention to make sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Lynn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also wanted to mention to you, and I brought this up a few times, that we do have a tribal member security firm that wishes to perform services for the irrigation project in regards to watching over equipment that's being staged on various places. So just an FYI.
Do you recall the name?
North Star.
Of course, that's, oh, I didn't know that was tribal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any more?
Thank you, council. That's all we need today.
Well, that's it. Okay, Rob, Mark.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Can we go into executive?
We'll go into executive. Ramel. Yeah. All right, Teresa, do you need open session or executive session? You get your mic on?
We have a matter for open session and then we have a matter for executive session.
Okay, well, let's stay in open session. for a little bit.
for a little bit. There we
And so
go.
I just want to congratulate having two new faces at the table here. Well, I mean, Zach's kind of stepped in before, but of course, our new board member. Welcome to see you in this seat, and I hope it's been okay so far.
My first meeting, yes.
Okay, good, good.
So far, so good.
All right. And those two Mission Valley Power full-time, long-term staffers, of course, have been carrying a lot of weight, and Denise and Craig are doing a wonderful job. You guys?
Jeannie told me, I was in their office today, she said 3 days.
Lisa, go ahead.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, council members. The utility board is here to request some official action. In July, we were here requesting your approval for the 2024 budget. At that time, the chairman asked that the utility board touch base with Dan Lozar concerning the time frame for the contract. And your present 638 contract expires on 9/30. So in discussion with Dan Lozar and based on our recent communication regarding possible divestiture, we would like to send a communication to the regional office requesting 2 contract modifications to the 638 contract. The first contract mod is that we are requesting an additional 2-year contract extension, which would be from October 1, 2023 through September 30, 2025. Then we propose a new negotiated contract or other mechanism, which would then be effective on October 1, 2025. The goal would be that that new agreement, term, or mechanism would be negotiated, agreed to, and signed and in effect on October 1. Your present 638 contract has 115 different modifications, with 14 to 15 modifications being done annually. And we believe that if we were able to negotiate potentially a new agreement, a new mechanism, that then we could achieve maybe a more cost-effective or efficient way to conduct utility business.
Could you please explain why there's such a large number of modifications, all in drafting money?
It's all in the transfer, the majority are in the transfer of funds. We believe that this is a really good time for transition. You have a new general manager, you have an engaged utility board. We have senior executives at the utility with years of experience, and we would like to capitalize on that. So we're proposing that if you approve this approach, that you appoint an internal team to evaluate options moving forward. And then the BIA may have an internal team, and that we begin working on whatever this new mechanism is. I know in the past you all were considering converting the contract to a compact, and that may still be a good alternative, but we believe with an internal team from here, some BIA expertise and attorney expertise, we can achieve a better agreement. So what we would propose is that in the next 60 days, you all would identify a CSKT team. The BIA would do the same, and we would begin meeting to resolve those issues that we sometimes stumble over. And the primary example is the issue with license plates. We are stuck with one individual who issues license plates for our vehicles, and we can wait up to a year for a license plate. And that's just not sound business practices. So the first amendment deals with the term of the contract and also suggests to the Bureau of Indian Affairs that we renegotiate the basic contract. The second modification is on page 2, section H, power system operations. And this is the portion of the contract that deals with who is qualified at Mission Valley Power. And the present contract language, which is quoted at the bottom of page 2, is based on federal language that has been in place forever with federal utilities. Because we recently found ourselves with a personnel issue related to licensure of staff, we are requesting that the Bureau of Indian Affairs leave that language and add a 2023 addition. So we would state, here's where we begin to define what is a qualified person or a licensed person. But we believe this clarification is necessary as we move forward. We're not requesting that any qualifications be waived. We are just clarifying. The letter in front of you has had legal review. Michael Wheeler has reviewed it. Your utility board has approved it. And so we would like to move forward. Dan Lozar did suggest, he said, Teresa, we all know that the contract needs several modifications, but he asked that we keep this one simple. So this one only has 2 items: term of contract, setting up a team to reevaluate how we move forward in the future, and we clarify the engineer license requirements.
Did Dan have any ideas who would be on the BIA team?
He did not make any suggestions yet, but I think they're waiting for this letter to kind of trigger the more formal process. So if the team were appointed, you could then evaluate, do you want to stay a 638 contract? Do you want to move to a compact? Or do you want some other agreement for continued utility operations? Because we do know that the Department of Interior is interested in getting out of the utility business.
You know, there was some names associated with that. I was just hoping maybe 1 or 2 of those people would be on this team. That's all. Hedge our bets. Any questions for council on the letter? 2-year contract extension, a handful of mods. Yep. Motion by Martin to approve the letter to Brian Mercier. Second by Ellie. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Let's see, Jenner's not there. Unanimous?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And the
Thank you.
original document is in front of you for your signature. So if you would sign that, then we would take care of distribution, including copies to you, to the superintendent, and to Dan Lozar. For the next matter, we would request that we go into executive session to discuss a personnel issue, please.
Okay, we will move into